The Board of Trustees of Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District is now convened in a regular meeting on Monday, May 12, 2014, in the arena of the Berry Educational Support Center, 8877 Barker Cypress, Cypress, Texas, at 6 p.m. I want to welcome the members of our audience and our television viewers to this meeting of the Board of Trustees. As the Cypress-Fairbanks Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals, listen to reports, approve budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and make policy for the district. It is not the role of the board to make day-to-day operational decisions. The management and day-to-day operations of the district are the responsibility of the superintendent. We have policies and procedures in place to resolve concerns and issues. This is a public meeting of the Board of Trustees, not a meeting of the public. Prior to this meeting, board members received information related to items on tonight's agenda. Agenda items will not necessarily be handled in the order listed on the notice, and the meeting is open to all who wish to attend and hear the matters discussed. During the course of the meeting, the board may determine that a closed session is necessary. In that event, the board will meet in closed session to consider matters duly posted for this meeting as permitted by Section 551.071 to 551.084, inclusive of the Texas Government Code. These proceedings are airing live on CFTV Channel 16 and CFTV online on the district website. They will also be rebroadcast throughout the month on Channel 16 and available as video on demand on the website. For the tape to adequately reflect the proceedings, I respectfully ask that you please refrain from talking while others are speaking and that cell phones are turned off or in silent mode. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening and for your interest in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District. Tonight's invocation will be presented by Carissa Hall, Associate Superintendent for Governmental Relations, Communications, and Chief of Staff. Cypress Springs High School JROTC cadets presenting the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance are Eva Chicas, Julian Johnson, Solomon Scott, and their sponsors are Lieutenant Colonel Trey Pryor and Chief Master Sergeant Michael Galafaro. Please stand for the invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we are so grateful for the blessings you have provided for our students and staff this year. We thank you for the dedicated staff who put children first. We thank you for community supporters who are dedicated to the district. Last week we honored teachers, and tonight we are recognizing our students. Each one has taken the gifts you have provided them and added their own hard work in order to excel. These recognitions remind us of our purpose and mission to all students in the district, regardless of their circumstances or background. And God, we ask that you watch over our students and staff during these last few weeks of school, graduations, and celebrations. As they work, travel, and rest over the summer months, please keep them all safe. As we always do, we ask you to protect our servicemen and women, and we pray for peace in our world. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated.
Thank you, cadets. Before we begin, I want to recognize our TV crew tonight. They're from Cy Springs High School, and their sponsor is Carlton Thompson. We have Kimberly Maya, Elena Moreno, Stephanie Cruz, Daniel Ramirez, Ruben Quintero, and Tamara Wabakosi. So those are our students that are helping us with the broadcast tonight. We appreciate their help. We also have, that I've seen, 2 members of our CLC group that are here tonight, Craig Sharp and Leslie Martone. I know you're out there, but this light's blinding, so if y'all would stand up. There we go. Okay, awesome. Board member Christine Hartley will read the district's vision and mission statement for the benefit of the audience.
The vision statement: learn, empower, achieve, dream, lead. The mission statement: maximize every student's potential through rigorous and relevant learning experiences, preparing students to be 21st century global leaders.
Thank you, Christine. Okay, we've got, obviously this is a pretty special night because we're celebrating student achievements, and this is why we do what we do. And just so the parents know, if you have a student that's getting recognized and somehow you got stuck in the cheap seats back there and you want to walk up and take a picture, walk up and get a picture. I mean, tonight's all about them. I really doubt you're going to hurt our TV ratings at all. I mean, even my wife isn't watching, so we're good. Agenda item 1A, the board will recognize students from Cy-Fair, Cypress Falls, Cypress Ridge, Cypress Woods, and Langham Creek High Schools who have achieved state honors in swimming and wrestling. And our presenter will be Ed Workin. Oh, Ray Sabetta's filling in for Ed. I just kind of caught that on the fly there. Sorry, bud.
Yes, Mr. Ryan, I am filling in for Mr. Workin tonight, and it's my distinct pleasure, Board of Trustees, Dr. Henry, to be here representing our athletic department and Mr. Workin tonight to really present to you an outstanding group of students that have succeeded really at the highest levels of competition in their respective sports. I'm going to get right into it and start with our first honoree. She is a Cy-Fair High School student that made school history, becoming the first athlete in the 40-year history of our swimming and diving program, to win the state title in the 1-meter diving competition. She won the diving competition handily, winning by 13 points next to their next closest rival. At this time, I would ask the Cy-Fair High School student Ashlyn Peters to come forward to be recognized formally for her accomplishment. As Ashlyn is coming forward, I would also ask that any Cy-Fair administrative team members, Ashlyn's mom I know is here, Tracy Peters, or any of her coaches, I know Coach Tidmore, Robert Tidmore is here, if they would please stand to be recognized. One thing that we do know in athletics is that even in individual sports like diving, it takes a team to get a student to this level, and we're real proud of our administrative team and Coach Tidmore and his program. Probably the best part of Ashlyn's accomplishment is that she will be back here with us next year. She is a junior at this time, and I know our entire department really looks forward to watching her defend her diving crown next year. Again, one more round of applause for Cy-Fair junior Ashlyn Peters. Okay, as mentioned earlier, in addition to our swimming honoree, we're also going to be honoring some of our wrestlers for outstanding performances this year in wrestling. And I'm going to start off with Cywood senior Taylor Alva. Taylor was a gold medalist at the state wrestling tournament this year at the 128-pound classification. If that really wasn't impressive enough, she won last year as a junior as well. Her record over 2 years is 84 victories, if I can count that high, and 0 losses. In addition to her 2 state championships, she also was named the 2014 Houston Chronicle Wrestler of the Year. At this time, I would ask Cywood senior Taylor Alva to come forward to be recognized for her accomplishment. As she is coming forward, I would ask that any of our Taylor's family members, I know that we have her mom Lee here with us tonight and her brother Philip, if they would stand, along with her principals and coaches. I know that we have Coach Mike White here. Mike was running an outstanding program over there at Woods, very proud of them. And I know that he told me that Taylor's goal is to wrestle in the 2020 Olympics. I have no doubt that she will be there. Again, Taylor Alva. Our next wrestling honoree is Cy Falls Junior Anel Cantu. Anel won the state championship as well, but this time at the 138-pound classification. This was also her second year to wrestle at the state tournament, so we're real proud of her. At this time, I'd ask Anel to come forward. And as she's coming forward, I know I saw Miss Denton here, if she would stand up, or any of her administrative team members, and her coach, James Miller, is here as well. And I think that she told me that her mom, Adriana, and her brother, Juan, was here tonight. So if they would stand to be recognized. As with Ashlyn earlier, the best thing about Anel is she will be back with us next year. And so I have great confidence that we're going to be here talking about her next year as well. Anel Cantu, Cy Falls High School. And we're going to kind of do this one together. In addition to Taylor and Anel, we're also honoring 2 state silver medalist wrestlers from Cy Ridge's second place state team. The first wrestler, Bashira Rayson, was a silver medalist at the 185-pound division. And at this time, I'd ask her to make her way up here. And joining her on this excellent team was another silver medalist at the 215-pound classification, Paige Baines. And Paige, if you would come forward as well. And as with our other groups, if we could have the Cy Ridge administrative team stand up, and I know that we've got Coach Tim Ray here. Tim has run an outstanding program there at Cy Ridge High School. They were first in state last year in 2013, second this year, and these 2 young ladies have been a big part of that. Joining them tonight, Mashira's mother, Michelle Rayson, is here supporting her. And then Paige's dad, Demetrius Evan, was here taking pictures, proud dad there. And then her sister, Patrika Baines. So again, many individual titles this year for these 2, and we look forward to seeing them next year and making a run at another state championship. Again, Paige Baines and Mashira Rayson from Cy Ridge High School. And finally, last but not least, we do have some males that wrestle as well, and one of our best, Andrea Giannetti, we're honoring him tonight. And Andrea, I'd like you to come up here to the front. And as he makes his way up here, don't be misled by his size. He's an intimidating guy. One of our most accomplished wrestlers, was a state silver medalist at the 106-pound division, and really probably one of our more accomplished wrestlers in the group. I talked to him. He said that he's going to be hanging it up and going to U of H next year. And I know I met his dad before the ceremony, Rich Giannetti, and Rich is here. Rich right there. And again, I saw Rich many times watching his son here. So again, very accomplished wrestler, state silver medalist, Andrea Giannetti. And I don't want to forget his coach, Jason Trahan. Jason, are you here? Jason done a great job with that program. I know we have a lot of other people to recognize. As I close our recognition of our athletes tonight, I want to thank the Board of Trustees and Dr. Henry for all your support. I mean, it really is a night like this that makes you realize how special a place CFISD is, and we're looking forward to the future and having many more of our students here. Thank you very much for having us tonight.
Thank you, Ray. Agenda item 1B, the board will recognize students from Cypress Creek, Cypress Ranch, and Cypress Woods High Schools for winning first or second place in the Future Business Leaders Association State Leadership Competition. Our presenter will be Mark Williams.
Mr. Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is a pleasure to present to you this evening business education students who have distinguished themselves by placing in one of the top 2 positions in their respective categories at the State 2014 Future Business Leaders of America Leadership Conference. Students from Cy Woods, Cy Lakes, Cy Creek, Cy Ridge, and Cy Ranch FBLA chapters competed in the state competition in Corpus Christi on March 13th through 15th. It is my honor to recognize the following students from Cy Woods High School who have placed either first or second place. Will the honorees come forward as I call your name? Cy Woods High School, accounting marketing second place, Manasi Mari. Marketing second place, Catherine Gonzalez. Sports and Entertainment Management, second place, Brandon Kula. Sports and Entertainment Marketing, second place, Shiva Reddy. Word Processing, first place, Ding Don. Sorry. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge Sywoods Administration, the Sywoods High School business teacher, Ms. Lori Andrade, and any family members here. Could you please stand? It is my honor to recognize the following students from Cy Creek High School who have placed either first or second place. Will the honorees come forward as I call your name? Brandon Sheets, first place, Digital Design. At this moment, I'd like to acknowledge the Cypress Creek High School administration who's here, and the Cypress Creek High School business teacher, Ms. Cheryl Oswald. Thank you, I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mark. Agenda item 1C, the board will recognize students who place first or second in the Students Taking Action with Recognition STAR events at the State Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America Leadership Conference. Our presenter will be Sharon Hogue.
Mr. Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, we're delighted to present to you this evening students who have distinguished themselves in the Students Taking Action with Recognition STAR events at the Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America FCCLA Conference in Corpus Christi, Texas on April 10 through 12, 2014. The following CFISD high school students earned first or second place awards. From Cy Ranch High School, we have Jackie Beely, Daniela Islas, and Jessica Cardoso. Jessica also won a $24,000 scholarship to Johnson and Wales University. We're very proud of her. I'd like the Cy Ranch administrators and the teacher, Jean Torres, to stand, please, and the parents. From Langham Creek High School, we have Jesse Childs, Darby Hunter, and Elsa Perez. Their teacher is Jamie Ramsey. Would Miss Ramsey please stand? And the administrators from Langham Creek High School. And the parents. As we congratulate these exceptional students, we'd like to thank all of the people who were their team to help them get there, their parents, their friends, their teachers, the principals. And we also want to thank the board and Dr. Henry for honoring our talented FCCLA students this evening.
Thank you, Sharon. Agenda item 1D, the board will recognize students from Cy-Fair, Cypress Creek, Cypress Woods, and Jersey Village High Schools who won awards at the Texas Association of Journalism Educators CLIP contest. Our presenter tonight will be Jacqueline Lewis.
Good evening, President Ryan, members of the board, and Dr. Henry. As journalism coordinator for Cypher ISD. It's my pleasure to announce to you that 25 students from 4 different high schools in our district were recognized by the Texas Association of Journalism Educators in the 2014 Clip Contest. In various newspaper categories, 4 students earned a superior rating and 9 earned an excellent rating. In yearbook categories, 2 students earned a superior rating and 10 earned an excellent rating. The award-winning students were from Cypress Creek, Cy-Fair, Cy-Woods, and Jersey Village High Schools. 2 students are here with us tonight to be recognized for their journalistic work. Students, please come to the front when your name is called. First, Ashlyn Peters earned an excellent rating in newspaper for her feature story, Cultural Shock. Ashlyn's a junior at Cy-Fair High School, as we've already mentioned. Natalie Solano earned an excellent rating in yearbook for her photo, Screaming. She is a senior at Jersey Village High School. Also, Natalie was singled out statewide by being named Photo Editor of the Year by the Interscholastic League Press Conference. Congratulations, ladies. At this time, if the administrators from Jersey Village or Cy-Fair are here, and Cy-Fair would stand. We also have the journalism teacher from Jersey Village High School, Ms. Margie Comstock, and parents of these students. If you're present tonight, will you please stand so that we can recognize all of you for your support of these students. Students, I'm very proud to have had the honor of recognizing you tonight. You've worked extremely hard and represented yourselves and your schools well on a statewide level, and you are to be commended. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Hey, Ashlyn, I gotta tell you, it's pretty impressive that you succeed in the athletic field and also in the classroom. You're a great example of students in our district, so congratulations. And no, we're not related. Agenda item 1E, the board will recognize students who earned All-American honors from the National Forensic League, a society that honors and celebrates competitive speech and debate activities. Our presenter will be Kenya Turner.
Good evening, President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry. It is my pleasure to present to you this evening students who have distinguished themselves in speech and debate. Senior Christian Kimball of Cypress Creek High School has been recognized as a National Forensic Christian has been recognized as a National Forensic League State and National All-American. Christian ranks #1 in the entire state of Texas and #2 nationally. He will also be, yes, I told him I was nervous that I had to speak about speech and debate students. He will also be competing next week at the UIL State Meet in Persuasive Speaking and the NFL National Tournament in Original Oratory in June. Congratulations, Christian. Next, we have Senior Caro Achar of Cypress Creek High School. Caro has been recognized as a National Forensic League State and National All-American. Caro ranks #3 in Texas and #6 nationally. In addition, just this past weekend, Caro won the national championship at the National Individual Events Tournament of Champions Tournament in Original Oratory. She will also be competing at the UIL State Meet in Persuasive Speaking and the NFL National Tournament in Domestic Extemporaneous Speaking in June. Congratulations, Caro. Will the parents of Caro Christian stand along with their coach, Scott Baker, and any administrator or other staff member of Cypress Creek High School? Thank you very much to Dr. Henry, the board, and the parents for supporting these students in their debate efforts. Thank you.
I'm going to break in just a minute. Kristen, would you stand up? Kristen, I just want you to know Mr. Hoffman didn't know who you were when you came up
No,
here.
I knew who you were, man.
Yeah.
The Skittles man.
Yeah. Just want you to know you're still my shadow. I just wanted you to know.
Agenda item 1F, the board will recognize CFISD for winning the Reader's Choice Best School District Award from the Cypress Creek Mirror. Presenter will be Susan Rovegno and Nicole Ray.
Good evening, President Ryan, members of the board, and Dr. Henry. We're honored this evening to have representatives here from the Cypress Creek Mirror, proudly serving our community by sharing news, events, and student accomplishments throughout the district. It's my pleasure tonight to introduce Susan Rovegno, sales manager, and Roy Kent, editor of the Cypress Creek Mirror. They'll be presenting us with the Reader's Choice Award.
Each year for the past 5 years, we've invited our readers to select their favorites from over 50 categories, everything from best restaurant, best date restaurant, favorite yogurt place, best community leader, and a variety of other categories. In January, we distributed 95,000 ballots a week for 4 weeks, and we also allowed our readers to vote online. Despite heavy voting in Tomball, the best school district was named as Cypress-Fairbanks ISD. Congratulations.
Thank you to the Cypress Creek Mirror and the board.
Somebody had to get second place. Good for Tomball. Agenda item 1G, the board will recognize students who placed in the following state and national art and photo competitions, visual arts, scholastic event, and National Scholastic Art Awards. Our presenter will be Sarah Sanders.
President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, I'm delighted to present to you this evening these students from 9 of our high schools who have distinguished themselves in 3 art and photography competitions. The majority of these honors are for the Visual Arts Scholastic event, better known as VACE, and is to the art student what UIL is to athletics and music. VACE is a standards-based competition that allows individual students the opportunity to discuss and analyze their artwork during a one-on-one interview with a professional art juror. From the 26,000 entries submitted this year from across Texas, only 1,600 images advanced to the state level, and 44 of those images are from our district. 29 received a superior rating, which is equivalent to a first place, and 15 received an excellent rating, which equates to a second place. In addition, 4 of our students received a gold seal medal. These works are considered to be the very best representations of standards and objectives in the VACE program and are exemplary in concept, technique, craftsmanship, and creativity. These 4 winning entries will tour the state for 1 year. The second competition is the National Scholastic Art and Writing Awards program, which celebrates outstanding work and commitment of young artists and writers. And of the 16,000 competitors from across the United States, approximately 1,500 received a gold and silver key. Cypress-Fairbanks sent 22 visual images to New York City as gold key regional winners, And we returned with 2 national gold medal winners and 3 national silver medal winners. The 2 gold medal winners of art will be on display in New York City during June. The third competition is the Association of Texas Photography Instructors, who sponsor the UT Austin Nationwide Photography Competition. This competition is known as ATPI. Almost 6,000 entries representing 72 high schools were received from California, Kansas, and Texas. And our district returned with 3 first-place winners and 4 second-place winners. We have a good number of students who could not be with us tonight because of the AP tests and finals and all kinds of issues. So our first group of winning students is from Cy Lakes High School. And as I call your name, please come forward and remain at the front until all students are called from your school. Leslie Flores. She is a freshman. She received an excellent for her mixed media piece, Sea Monsters. Alexandra Guerrero, a sophomore, received a superior for her drawing, A Basket and All. Bellum Lopez, a junior, received an excellent for her painting, Up Close, Not Personal. Teachers are Michaela Carpenter and Leanne Carrier, and may we have the principal, administration, teachers, and family members of these students please stand and be recognized. Thank you, students. You may be seated. From Cypress Ranch, we have Chantal Bondoc, a junior, a National Scholastic Art Gold Medal winner for her digital art and media piece, Forest. Allie Fairweather, a freshman, received a superior for the photography piece, Imaginary Friends. Sarah Fairweather, a junior, received 2 awards, an excellent for her photography piece, The House on a Hill, and a superior for photography piece, Bear. Miguel Guerrero, a senior, received an ATPI second place and a National Scholastic Arts silver medal for his digital art and media piece, Loose Screws. Philip Wynn, a junior, received a superior for his drawing, Art of Enigma, a self-portrait. Macy Partain, a senior, received a superior for the painting Dentist, a self-portrait. And Kelly Quintero, a senior, received 2 ATPI awards, 1 second place for her photography piece, Heart Drop, and 1 for her photography piece, a first place for her photography piece, Nature Walk. Sabina Raja, a senior, received a first place in ATPI for her photography piece, Sydney. And Kyle Tiller, a sophomore, received an excellent for his digital art and media piece, Enigma. Teachers are Nancy Hines, Jason Newman, and Kelly Quarles. May we have the principal, admin, teachers, and family please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Cy Ranch students. You may be seated. Great job, everybody. From Cypress Springs, we have Jasmine Felisami, a junior, received an excellent for her drawing, Haiti's Own Canon Music. And Joshua Quinones, a freshman, received a superior for his drawing, Mimicking Mimes, Myself in a Box. Teachers are Teresa Burgess and Denise Schilling, and may we have the principal, teachers, and admin, and parents please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Joshua. From Cy Woods, we have Kayvon Afshar, a sophomore, received a Superior and a Gold Seal for his photo Lost. Issa Ahmad, a senior, received a Superior for her drawing Charcoal Saxophone. Gerald Almonte, a senior, received a Superior for his drawing Goat. And Olivia Buckles, a senior, received an Excellent for the mixed media piece New Jerusalem. Kaylee Conley, a sophomore, received a Superior for the photo Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Christian Doyle, a senior, received a Superior for his painting Vortex. Carissa Everitt, a senior, received a Superior for her photo Focused In. Nadia Kiani, a sophomore, received an Excellent for her photo piece Beyond the Pines. Kinsey Miller, a junior, received 2 awards, one Excellent for the mixed media piece Boys in Gray, and a Superior and a Gold Seal for her mixed media piece Cut Paper Portrait. Nick Wynn, a junior, received a Superior for a ceramic piece Emerald Forest Vase. Alexandria Quinn, a junior, received a first place at ATPI for the photo Reflection at Dusk. Briana Uchendu, a freshman, received a Superior for the painting Orange and Blue Portrait. Kate Wurzbicki, a junior, received a Superior for the painting The Golden Sax. The teachers are Tina Fox, Juan Guevara, Charlotte Stewart, and may we have the principal, admin, teachers, and family members please stand and be recognized. Thank you, Cy Woods students. You may be seated. And from Langham Creek, we have Alexandra Goodwin, a sophomore. She received an Excellent for her digital art and media piece, Forest of Lashes. Carmen Llewellyn, a sophomore, received an Excellent for the digital art and media piece, Trifecta. And Avery Patton, a sophomore, received a Superior for the painting No Eyelashes. And Ursula Tellitz, a senior, received a National Scholastic Art Gold Medal for her photo Windmills. Teachers are Bohe Na, Joshua Smith, Margaret Walker, and may we have the principal, admin, teachers, and family members please stand. Thank you, Langham students. You may be seated. As we congratulate these exceptional artists, we want to thank their parents, friends, teachers for providing the support so necessary for their achievements, and also we thank the board for your undying support of the Fine Arts program. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders. We have some extremely talented students, and I mean that from someone who has absolutely no artistic ability at all. To see some of those, it's extremely impressive. What did you say? It's true of my artistic ability? It is true. No, 0. Agenda item 1H, the board will recognize students who won silver medals at the Scholastic Art and Writing Awards. Our presenter will be Miss Kenya Turner again.
President Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is my pleasure to present to you this evening Cypher ISD students who distinguished themselves in the 2013-2014 Scholastic Writing Contest. We are very proud to recognize the following students for their outstanding achievements in writing. These students were among 1,587 regional winners from 17 Harris County school districts in the 2014 Scholastic Art and Writing Awards hosted by the Harris County Department of Education. Cypher ISD students won 174 of the 630 total awards available. Our Gold Key winner qualified to advance to the national level of judging in New York City. Please help me congratulate the following students. Silver Key winners from Cypress Falls High School, Philip Molina and Melissa Dew. Will the parents, teachers, and administrators from Cypress Falls please stand? Thank you. From Cypress Woods High School, we have Gaurav Lasalinghani. Will the parents, teachers, and administrators from Cypress Woods please stand? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Agenda item I has been removed from our agenda tonight. Agenda item 1J, the board will recognize students who place best in show, first or second, in the Skills USA Texas 2014 competition. And our presenter will be Ms. Sharon Hogue once again.
Mr. Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, we're delighted to present to you this evening students who have distinguished themselves at the Skills USA Texas State Conference Culinary and Cosmetology Competition in Corpus Christi, Texas on March 27 through 29, 2014. I'd like for the culinary students to come on up. The following Cy-Fair culinary students earned Best of Show, first or second place awards. From Cy-Fair High School, we have Ruth Gurrier and Lady Ward. From Cypress Woods High School, we have Shelby Ritchie and Kyle Wagner. Their teacher is Cara Palermo. And from Cypress Ridge High School, we have Stephanie Krotzer. Rachel was unable to be here, but their teacher is Meredith Owen. We would like the administrators for Cy-Fair and Cy Ridge, the parents, family, and teachers to please stand. Thank you, students. We had quite a number of cosmetology students who won and distinguished themselves in Corpus Christi, and the following cosmetology departments won the overall chapter award for the multiple superior ratings, and that was for Cypress Springs High School and Langham Creek High School. Those were state awards that were given for them. So I'd like for the students from Cy Lakes to come on up. It's Eva Zarate. Some of the other students were unable to be here from Cy Creek and Cy Falls, but the teacher for Cy Lakes is Danica Reyes. Smoot, would you stand, please? and the administrators and parents from Cy Lakes as well. We have some students from Cy Ranch here tonight. Kimberly Aziz, Blanca Villagomez, Dominique Coy, Kaylee Borjas, Sierra Brinkley, Andrea Charles, Haley Jimenez, Lilani Salguero, Reagan Cooper and Denzel Fleming. Their teacher is Nicole Brooks. So if Ms. Brooks would stand, please, and the parents, the family, the administrators from Cy Ranch. Thank you. You may be seated. From Cy Springs High School, we have several students here. Rosa Parra, Jacqueline Sosa, and Kimberly Dominguez. Their teacher is Karen Williams. If we could have the parents, the family, the administrators from Cy Springs to please stand. Thank you. And from Langham Creek High School, we have Sheila Perez, Amy Zavazua, and Caitlin Woods. I would also like to say that Caitlin Woods won an academic scholarship of $56,000 to go to Sam Houston State University to represent Langham Creek Cosmetology. Their teacher is Lynette Smith. We'd have Ms. Smith stand, please, the parents, the family, the administrators, the teachers from Langham Creek High School. As we congratulate these exceptional students, we thank their parents, their families, their teachers, and their whole team that have helped them get to where they are. And we thank the board and Dr. Henry for honoring our talented culinary and cosmetology students this evening.
Thank you, Ms. Hogue, and congratulations to the young lady on the $56,000 scholarship. That's amazing. Go ahead, you can shout out for her. She's saving y'all a lot of money by getting that. Agenda item 1K, the board will recognize students who were selected and participated in Texas Music Educators Association All-State Band, Choir, and Orchestra. Our presenter tonight will be Larry Matishak.
President Ryan, Dr. Henry, and members of the board. Tonight we are recognizing music students that have been selected for membership in the 2014 TMEA All-State Bands, Choirs, and Orchestras. This is the highest honor a student may achieve in Texas in music, and the process begins in November when thousands of music students across Texas compete in head-to-head competition. The students advance from region to area and finally the all-state level. Less than 1% of all music students in Texas achieve this status. Students who are selected participate in the Texas Music Educators Association Annual Convention and Clinic, which is the largest of its kind in the nation. They perform with their respective groups and attend clinics with thousands of people at the conference. Since it is so difficult to achieve this honor, most colleges and universities award scholarships to all-state musicians regardless of their status as a music major. This year we were fortunate enough to have 38 Cy-Fair students selected for an all-state group representing all 10 high schools. I will now call the students by school by name. From Cy-Fair High School, we have Marissa Garcia, Maddie King, Dylan Defner, Christopher Walker, Julie Yu, and he could not be here tonight, Andy Yang, making orchestra. From Cy Creek High School, we had Andres Bryan in band, Nathan Ponder from choir. From Cy Falls High School, we had Melissa Dew in orchestra, and I should add that Melissa's made All-State 4 years in a row. So, from Cy Falls also, Ethan Chan, Ashlyn Harrison, Marguerite Lavin, Elsa White, Tyler Denton, Evan Moynihan. From Cy Lakes High School, Thomas Robinson. From Cypress Ranch, Mackenzie Bitts, Rachel Menchaca, Matthew Pham, Ryan Willis, Avery Yabernetsky, and from Cypress Ridge, Dustin Huang, Maria Kesey, and Andrea Montano. From Cypress Springs High School, Michael Magana, Brian Maynard, and Marquis Wincher. From Cypress Woods High School, we have Sharon Crichton, Amanda Curry, and Peyton Howard. From Jersey Village High School, we had Tresser Brill from the orchestra. The students that could not be here tonight are Joshua Chang, Wynn Duncan, and Jonathan Pham, but Blake Gates is here from the Jersey Village Choir. And from Langham Creek, we have Jennifer Touleau, Audrey Wang, and Isaiah Carter. We would like to congratulate all these students on their high level of discipline and musicianship and representing Cy-Fair so well. We would also like to recognize the directors and private teachers, many of you here tonight in the audience who worked tirelessly for these students. Would you please stand and be recognized? And we, of course, would like to thank parents and relatives of these students who have supported them through this process with emotional, financial support as well. Would you please stand? And students, again, thank you for all your hard work, and I hope I get to hear you perform one more time. So thank you for the board for your continued support of all the fine arts programs in Cy-Fair.
Thank you, Larry. Did everybody get all their pictures? We good? Thank you, guys. Agenda item 1L. The board will recognize students from Hamilton and Smith Middle Schools and Cypress Woods, Langham Creek, and Jersey Village High Schools who placed either first or second in the state at the 2000 Technology Student Association contest. Presenter will be Mark Williams.
Mr. Ryan, before I get started, I overlooked a student earlier with the FBLA. I'd like to acknowledge Cywood's student, Santiago Rivas. Santiago, would you please come up? My apologies. Santiago placed second place in sports and entertainment marketing. Selfie.
Finally, nice job, Santiago.
Thank you, Santiago. Mr. Ryan, Board of Trustees, and Dr. Henry, it is a pleasure to present to you this evening industrial technology education students who have distinguished themselves by placing in one of the top 2 positions in their respective categories at the State Technology Student Association competition held in Waco, Texas. Middle and high school student members competed in more than 60 competitive events based on principles and concepts learned through projects during the school year in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I am extremely proud to say that as a district, we had 144 first place and 99 second place winners. Because of the AP testing and a lot of things going on, not all the students will be recognized tonight. The teachers and students worked very hard over the past school year to attain this achievement. At this time, wrong campus. It is my honor to recognize the following students from Langham Creek High School who have placed either first or second place. Will the honorees come forward as I call your name? Ileana Barrera. Erin Garcia. Henry Hernandez. Noah Newport. And Jennifer Sanchez. At this time, I ask Mrs. Jennifer O'Brien, Langham Creek teacher, Langham Creek administration, and invited guests and family members to stand to be recognized. Thank you, students. It is my honor to recognize the following students from Hamilton Middle School who have placed either first or second place. Will the honorees come forward as I call your name? Chris Cormack. John Fanning. Jacob Hayward. Bo Huffman. Chase Smith. And Alex Quinn. At this time, I ask the teachers, Mr. Vincent Carter and Mrs. Sohili Solmani, invited guests, Hamilton administration, and family members to stand to be recognized. Thank you. It is my honor to recognize the following students from Cy Woods High School who have placed either first or second place. Will the honorees come forward as I call your name? Tyler Chiraboga. Michael Egan. Lily England. Paige Gant. Justin Gully. Robert Lipham. Nicholas Minchik. Valerie Nieto. Edgar Torres. Ian West. And Luis Zuniga. At this time, I ask the teachers, Mr. Michael Bennett and Mr. David Berry, Cy Woods Administration, invited guests and family members to stand to be recognized. And Mr. Ryan, before I step down, I had the great pleasure of walking in Technology Festival with Mr. Jackson. He took a liking to one of our pieces of equipment, the CNC Patriot, and he asked me to have Cy Woods students create a little project for you, something that's fun, something that's interesting. So here's a little gift from Cy Woods Industrial Technology.
Hey, I'm a little slow, okay? That's why I'm not getting an award tonight. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it, guys. It's a piece of wood with my name on it, in case you're wondering what it was. Yeah, the one side looks like I did it, and the one side looks like actual woodworkers did it.
Dr. Henry, if I may, please, excuse me. We have two more cosmetology students that I neglected to mention, and one of them is still here, Jennifer Zavala. If you'd please come and be recognized. Jennifer is from Langham Creek High School, and she also won an award at the Skills USA contest in Corpus Christi. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hogue. We don't want any student to be excluded, so that's perfectly okay. Dr. Henry's going to make some brief remarks, and then we're going to take a break. So some of you don't have to act like you're sneaking out. You can go ahead and leave.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. Board of Trustee Bob Covey has been elected as a director of the Gulf Coast Area Association of School Boards for the 2014-15 school year. The voluntary organization is composed of over 50 school boards in the greater Houston area. Member school boards and associate members support public education, provide training and information to local school boards, impact legislation, and provide scholarships. In theater, Cypress Ranch and Cypress Falls both qualified for the Region 3 Area 1 competition after being selected to advance from the District 17 5A contest. Six teams from Cy-Fair ISD placed at state and are headed to Destination Imagination Global Finals in Knoxville, Tennessee later this month. Winning teams are from Adam Elementary, Cook, Blyle, and Spillane Middle Schools, and a combined team from Cy-Fair, Cy Creek, and Cy Woods High Schools. Cy Ranch placed second at state in a non-global Texas Extreme Challenge. CFISD middle and high school students recently competed in the State Science Olympiad. Cy Woods placed first at the Gulf Coast Regional Tournament to qualify for state. The district softball season has ended with the undefeated Cy-Fair Lady Bobcats winning district. Cy Falls placed second, Cy Woods third, and Cy Ranch fourth. All four teams won their Region 3 5A playoffs. Cy Ranch, Cy Woods, and Cy Falls finished their season as area finalists. Cy-Fair advanced to quarterfinals. In golf, Cy Ranch boys and Cy-Fair girls won the district championship in golf. Placing second for boys was Cy-Fair and Cy Ranch for girls. Cypress Creek girls won region with Jersey Village third, and Jersey Village boys placed second, and Cy Creek third at the Texas Interscholastic Swimming Coaches Association Region 2 Water Polo Tournament. All four teams advanced to the state tournament for the second year in a row. Congratulations to Cy Creek for placing second in the state at the event. In boys track, Cy Ridge placed first, Cy Ranch second, Cy Fair third. In girls track, Cy Springs was district champion with Cy Creek placing second and Cy Fair placing third. Cy Springs girls placed first and Cy Creek second, and Cy Springs boys won second and Cy Ranch third at the area meet. Over 130 CFISD students advanced to regionals where Cy Springs girls won first. 3 boys and 18 girls qualified for state where Cy Springs girls placed second in state, their best season ever. Langham Creek head baseball coach Armando Cedeno recently achieved his 500th career victory. The win secured the District 17 5A championship for the Lobos. Cypress Ranch came in second and Cy Fair third. These teams, along with Cy Creek, won their by-district playoff and advanced to the area round. Cy Ranch, Cy Fair, and Langham Creek advanced to regionals. Congratulations to all of our talented students, teachers, and staff. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Dr. Henry. Let's take a few-minute break. For those of you that need to leave and have other plans, you can do so now. And about 3 or 4 minutes, we'll get back up here and continue with the meeting. If any patron wishes to address the board pertaining to the 2014-2015 budget, please see Ms. Ray. Each speaker will be given 2 minutes to address the board. Ms. Christine Hartley, Secretary of the Board, will be our designated timekeeper. This is agenda item 2A. The board will hold a public hearing on the adoption of the 2014-2015 budget on Monday, May 12, 2014 at 7:15 p.m. Mr. Snow.
Thank you, President Ryan, members of the board, and Dr. Henry. I had to rush up the stage here. You caught me unaware. I am pleased to present the proposed budget for 2014-2015. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide residents of the school district an opportunity to express their views and opinions on the proposed budget. If you recall, I presented a PowerPoint on the progress of the budget development process at the April board meeting and mentioned that we plan to present the final budget at the May 12th board meeting. Tonight's presentation of the proposed budget is not substantially different than the preliminary budget that I presented in April. In case any interested party was not able to view my April presentation, I mentioned that we generally begin the budget process in January of each year in order to adopt a budget before the end of June. When we begin the budget process, we develop a preliminary principal goals that we hope to provide funding for. Again, my presentation tonight will be nearly the same as my presentation was in April, so that community members who did not have an opportunity to be present at the board meeting or to view the presentation either on television or online can be made aware of the budget. The principal goals for 2014-15 are addressed by each having specific funding elements that I will share with you. The principal goals are, and if you follow along on the screens, adopt a balanced budget where the expenditures equal revenues, preserve the quality of instruction to our students and the services that we provide to our departments, provide a compensation plan for our teachers and other employees that will allow us to remain competitive in the market with the neighboring school districts that we primarily compete with. Place a high priority on additional funding for students and staff safety and security, and protect the district's operational infrastructure by funding capital equipment purchases, and continue to fund the furniture, fixtures, and equipment replacement program that was developed this year. You adopted a budget for the current 2013-2014 year that set the starting teacher salary at $48,000, with the goal to increase the starting teacher salary to $50,000 for 2014-15. And I showed you this slide last month, and is a comparison of how our 2013-14 teacher salaries compare with the districts that we primarily compete with for teachers. This information was taken from a salary survey conducted by the Texas Association of School Boards, and it compares the salaries of teachers at the starting teacher level and at the 5-year, the 10-year, the 15-year, 20-year, and the maximum salary levels. And as you look at the slide, the salaries for Cy-Fair are shown in the gray background, and Cy-Fair's ranking relative to the other 7 districts is listed in and shown in parentheses beside the respective salary. And as you can see, for starting teachers, we are tied with Tomball as the highest beginning teacher salary of the districts listed. In addition, we have the second highest salary for the 5-year, 10-year, and the 20-year levels, and the highest at the 15-year level. A good portion of our budget plan for achieving the principal goals that I mentioned for remaining competitive in the marketplace with our compensation plan is addressed by a compensation plan review conducted by the Texas Association of School Boards. And as I mentioned last month, the district engaged TASB to conduct that employee compensation study for all district jobs except for teachers and aides. And I also mentioned that the HR division, HR Services Division of TASB has been providing compensation, consulting, and support services to Texas school districts for over 30 years. Some of our budget recommendations regarding employee compensation are the result of recommendations made by TASB in their report. As a result of their study, TASB found that there are some steps on our teacher hiring schedule that were a little bit out of line and not consistent with the progression of salaries within the rest of the hiring schedule. Also, there exists some significant compression between teachers and other certified educator positions. This has caused some non-instructional professional positions such as assistant principals, counselors, diagnosticians, and instructional specialists and coordinators to be paid less than teachers, even though these professionals must be teacher certified and with the same degree and experience as the teachers. For the non-instructional pay grades, TASB found that although our pay grade structure for entry and midpoints were competitive, where we have placed individuals in some of those pay grades have caused some compression as well, as more experienced employees are paid too low in the pay grades in which they were placed. In addition, TASB found that while the district teachers lead the market in pay, as you saw in the previous slide, the salaries for some non-instructional positions in the business operations areas and the clerical and hourly positions are well below market. The recommendations for salaries that I will present in this report are reflective of the recommendations made by TASB to remedy these issues identified in the report. So our plan for the 2014-2015 budget based on the specific objectives to accomplish our principal goals are, first, to provide a starting teacher salary of $50,025. During the budget process last year at this time, as I mentioned, we presented our objective to provide a starting teacher salary of $50,000 for 2014-15, and we also presented that same objective at the board meeting last month. However, since going on record as having this objective, several other area school districts are intending on offering starting salaries of $50,000 in order to keep up with this. And so in our effort to differentiate Cy-Fair teacher salaries with the rest of our neighboring school districts, we are proposing a starting teacher salary a tad greater than the $50,000. Secondly, provide a salary increase to all teachers of $2,600 for each step on the hiring schedule. And in order to correct the out of alignment issue that I mentioned earlier in steps 2 through 7, TASB recommends an equity pay increase to teachers in those steps in addition to the $2,600 pay increase. The percentage increase for teachers ranges from 3.49% to 5.89%, with the average increase of nearly 4.5%. 59% of our teachers will receive a raise in excess of 5%, and 96% of our teachers receiving a salary increase greater than 4% according to the proposed plan. Also, we propose to provide a salary increase of 3.25% at midpoint for all other employees. In addition, in response to the TASB study, we are recommending pay range adjustments and equity increases in addition to the 3.25% increase for certain clerical, hourly support, instructional administration, and central administration positions. We also recommend providing funding for a summer school elementary K through 2 literacy initiative and funding for a summer school secondary math and algebra initiative. We're proposing that we provide funding for the final 3-year phase-in of the police department, which includes enough funding for officers as well as vehicles. Provide funding for the ongoing operating costs for opening Anthony Middle School. Provide funding for capital outlay purchases. Provide funding for costs and increases associated with and related to the student enrollment growth, and to provide funding, continued funding for the FF&E replacement schedule that was developed this year. As you know, one portion of the bond proposal is the restoration of busing services to the level that existed prior to budget cuts a few years ago. And since we will now be able to restore those services, there will be some related ongoing operating costs that we will propose to be funded, and that relates to additional bus drivers and fuel for the buses. Also, a portion of the instructional materials allotment from the state has been dedicated for technology services. The next textbook adoption by the state is expected to require the use of all of the funds allocated to us in the instructional materials allotment, leaving no available funds for technology services. And so we are recommending that the portion of IMA historically used for technology be restored in the general fund if in fact the textbook allotment requires all of the funds for textbooks. And then finally, during the last legislative session, Senate Bill 1458 increased the contributions to the teacher retirement system. The school district's portion of the increase is an additional 1.5% of compensation. Conference committee report to Senate Bill 1 in the last session provides $330 million in the 2014-15 school year for a one-time transition funding to public schools to assist with the new district contribution rate. And so we are including the amount of our additional contribution in our operating budget. Slides 8 and 9 reflect the dollar amount of the additional items that I just got through mentioning. And those are $18.8 million representing the teacher salary increases and the equity adjustments, $6.3 million for salaries and benefits related to new teachers for student enrollment growth, $8.8 million representing the salary increases and equity adjustments for all other employees, $1.1 million for summer school reading, math, and algebra initiatives, $2.1 million for the police department additions, and $3.5 million for the ongoing operating costs to open Anthony Middle School. Also included in the budget is $7.3 million that represents the additional 1.5% district contribution to the TRS, $1.3 million for the restoration of the transportation services, $3 million representing the technology services portion of the instructional materials allotment, and then $4.6 million representing the additional cost, miscellaneous costs that are related and caused by student enrollment growth. Slide 10 is, this slide shows our revenue estimates for 2014-15, and we are anticipating tax revenues of $390,917,772, state revenues of $393,120,271, and miscellaneous and federal revenue that are recorded in the general fund of $49,475,000, $49,475,000, revenue totaling $833,513,043. This slide shows the proposed budget expenditures sorted by object level, also totaling $883,513,043, thereby representing a balanced budget as expenditures equal our revenues. And as you can see, payroll costs, which include salaries and benefits, represent over 86% of our operating budget. Contracted services, which represent our legal fees, our audit fees, our tax appraisal fees, our utilities, at $46.8 million, both supplies and materials and other operating costs each at $31.1 million, and then capital outlay at $4.1 million. The next three slides actually represent the total operating budget sorted by function level. And as you know, it's the function level expenditures at which you actually approve the budget. And so the next three slides detail that proposed budget by function level. And as you can see, the expenditures related to the direct classroom instruction represents over 67.5% of our budget at $562,897,970. And just to point out a few of those expenditures that are listed there, in TEA's calculation of the administrative cost ratio, that's a ratio of the administrative cost to all instructional related expenditures. The sum of the instruction of $562,897,970 and the instructional resources and media of $6,999,949, curriculum and instructional staff development of $8,528,978, and the guidance and counseling expenditures of $27,436,981. The sum of those is $605,863,878, and it's that sum that represents all instructional related expenditures that are included in the calculation of the administrative cost ratio. On the administration side, the instructional leadership, which is central office instructional leaders, of $9,122,302. And on the next slide, actually the general administration costs of $13,352,726. Those two costs totaling $22,475,028 represents the administration expenditures that are included in the administrative cost ratio. So the ratio of the administrative costs to the campus-related instructional costs provides a administrative cost ratio that we are budgeting in this budget of 3.7%. Now, the standard for school districts our size in the state of Texas, and the standard that TEA sets for administrative cost ratio is a little over 11%, so that gives you a little bit of perspective on where we are. And again, I think our administrative cost ratio was even higher than the 3.7% last year. It was about 3.9% if I recall. We continue to have the lowest administrative cost ratio in the Gulf Coast region. Before I leave this slide that we're looking at now, I just wanted to point out that the general administrative budget of $13,352,000 represents 1.6% of our total annual operating budget. And again, to put that in perspective, the statewide average for general administrative expenditures for all school districts in the state is about 3.5%. The next slide is just the final two, function level JJAEP of $55,000 and other governmental expenditures of $4.6 million that represent the Harris County Appraisal District appraisal fees that we pay them. So a total of expenditures of $833,513,043. In addition to the general operating budget or the general fund, you are required to adopt a budget for the payment of our principal and interest payments on our outstanding bonds. And this is the debt service budget, or the interest and sinking fund budget, if you will. The budgeted expenditures are the principal and the interest payments that are due August 2014 and February 2015. And our total principal and interest payments for fiscal 2015 will be $150,380,248. However, we do receive funding from the federal government for our Build America bonds and our qualified school construction bonds that we sold a few years back. And our total federal subsidy for those bonds is $5,185,292. And that offsets the debt service payments that I just mentioned of $150 million. And you can see I have shown there a line for the existing debt allotment in which we have received in the past state of Texas assistance and to also offset our debt service payments. However, under the existing EDA program, we no longer qualify for state payments and will not be receiving any state assistance for 2014-15. Therefore, the total amount of our debt service budget is a net $145,194,956. In addition, you are required to adopt a budget for our food service program. And now food service is a self-supportive program through paid breakfast, lunch sales, and federal reimbursement through the National School Lunch Program. The food service budget requires no tax dollars to support that program. But the budget for 2014-15 is $70,751,806. The tax rates related to this budget, both for M&O and INS, will be adopted by the Board of Trustees in October after the Harris County Appraisal District provides certified property tax rolls. In this slide and in the public notice advertising this public hearing in the Houston Chronicle, I am showing that the tax rates will remain unchanged from the current year. However, based on preliminary property valuations by Harris County Appraisal District that have been communicated to us at the end of April, and because of the expected increase in values, I am anticipating that the tax rate for debt service could be less than the 41 cents shown here by possibly 2 to 3 cents. And so when we come back after the Harris County Appraisal District certifies our values, and then we will know at that time what that tax rate will be, and we'll be proposing that tax rate to you in October. What this means is that the impact on the tax rate for debt service estimated for the bond proposal could be less than originally communicated to the community. Also, there will be no change to the M&O tax rate of $1.04. So that concludes my presentation, and I would be happy to answer your questions. And I invite members of the Cy-Fair community to make comments regarding the budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart. Nicole, did anyone sign up? No. Okay. Any questions from board members? Mr. Covey?
Stuart, thank you for the report and your whole group. It's always wonderful. A couple of questions on the teacher salary comparison. We're looking at adopting our budget tonight. The 7 other districts that you're showing here, have they adopted their budget yet? And do you know, are they going to be going up on their salaries like we're talking about doing?
I don't believe that any of those districts that we've listed here have actually adopted their budget yet. Spring Branch is, I think, adopting this month. Some of these districts that I've listed here have fiscal year ends ending in August, and so they won't be adopting their budgets until that point in time.
Okay, all right, thanks. And then one more question, and I think we talked about this once before, but you know, one of the things that I've heard over the past year is that it's very difficult for our schools to find substitute teachers on Mondays and Fridays. And one of the complaints that I heard was that the pay has not been increased for a while. And I think we talked about this once before. Is that going to be part of this, or is that a separate line item that we'll look at later?
The pay for substitute teachers?
Right.
That has not been contemplated in this budget. However, that's something that we can look at.
Okay, all right. That's one of the big complaints I've heard, you know, in going around. So, thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Any other questions from board members? Mr. Jackson.
Mike, I have certain questions regarding the raises, and asking these questions may hurt some feelings, but I think we have to ask them anyway. The first one, I guess, would go to you, Dr. Henry, and the question is, we're announcing a raise. Do you believe that this raise is justified based upon district performance, since this is an across-the-board raise as opposed to individual raises?
Well, I think tonight was a good example of why, part of the reason it was justified, but also if you take a look at our district, we are the largest district in the state where every campus and the district receive the Met Standard criteria by the state of Texas. So I think our teachers are performing to a high level. We have also received, as y'all have heard me say before, the ERG award, which recognizes the school district that's the most financially efficient and achieves the highest academically. So yes, I think our teachers certainly deserve this, and I would even say that we would love to recommend more, but this certainly gets us in a great competitive position in this region. In fact, I think with that 50,000 and 25, that little 25 added, we might maintain that number one position with our comparison group.
Mr. Snow, the next question would then be for you. Certainly you've presented us a budget which is balanced based upon these contemplated raises. In your opinion, and it's always difficult to forecast, but you really have to, are these raises and this cost structure sustainable on a going forth basis for, say, the next 2 to 4 years?
That's a great question, Mr. Jackson, but I think that I would answer that by saying that we wouldn't recommend a raise increase if we didn't feel that the increase was sustainable.
Thank you. There we go. I'm back on again. When you take a look at our state website, and I've talked about this each of the last 2 years, you see that our administration at the campus level is paid less than the state average. However, Harris County tends to have one of the higher cost structures in the state of Texas. Will this raise address the pay inequity as it relates to administration at the individual campus level? And I guess that would be for you, Mr. Snow.
I believe it will, and particularly with those equity adjustments that we're proposing, as well as the salary increases at all of those levels. Based on the TASB salary study, most of our campus principal salaries are competitive with the state average in our comparison districts, but we do have some campus principals that are paid slightly below market. And I think that that's going to help with this issue as well. Also some, but not all of our assistant principals and our counselors and our diagnosticians, as well as those instructional specialists and coordinators that I mentioned earlier, there are quite a few there that are also below market. And so this will help bring them up to be competitive with our neighboring districts, with particularly with the state average and with the focus districts that TASB used in their study. The major issue, as I mentioned with these positions, that some of these positions are paid less than what a teacher with the same degree and experience has. And so I know that there are a lot of teachers that would like to advance into administration and be in the principal track program that just feel like they can't do that because they would have a cut in pay under the current program.
My next question on this, I guess, would go to Mr. Garcia. We have all seen in the last several years how talented principals as well as talented APs have been, to borrow a term, been poached by some of our good neighboring districts that the state of Texas has seen fit to give greater funding than we have on a per-student basis, and in some cases substantially greater funding. Mr. Garcia, you're in charge of these folks. Do you think this will make it a little more difficult for our good neighbors to poach some of our employees in this fashion?
Mr. Jackson, it will make it more difficult, and I think that this definitely assists. And just as Dr. Henry mentioned with the teacher pay, this is a step in the right direction. Sure, we'd like to do more, but at the same time, I think the other things that we offer in Cypress-Fairbanks ISD will assist us in maintaining our excellent leaders.
I have a piggyback question, and it's really part and parcel of the same one that Mr. Covey asked. He certainly highlighted the substitutes. The other area when you make campus visits that you hear about is the philosophy of this district has changed over the years so that we use instructional paraprofessionals. However, you also hear that there's a concern that the salaries, just like for our substitute teachers, may no longer be competitive. Does this budget address that of our instructional paraprofessionals?
Yes, part of the TASB study did identify some inequities in the pay structure for our instructional paraprofessionals as well, and so I believe that with this proposed plan we will be able to address those issues as well.
Thank you.
Dr. Ogletree?
You indicated, Stuart, that we could visit the substitute teachers. What is the amount of our budget that goes to subs right now? And once we vote, when could we be assured that we could make some adjustments in what we pay our subs?
Well, first of all, when we go through the budget process, the development process, we bring needs that have been identified and discuss those needs and then vet those needs in terms of whether those would be included in the proposed budget. And that was one of the needs that was not brought forward that we did not address. But what I can tell you is that I may need some help on the substitute cost. I know that our budget for what? I'm sorry? No, it's for the but I've kind of lost the term. It's the amount that we, for leave, I guess, the amount that we pay out for leave and sick leave and that sort of thing. I think we're at about $5 million in a total amount that we budget for that. And so what we would look at is on a daily basis, look at our long-term sub rates and our short-term sub rates and be able to see what the cost would be to be able to identify what we could do to help with that situation. Again, this was something that was not brought to our attention during the budget development process, but something that we can continue to look at, and then we can always make an adjustment at the budget at a quarterly review.
Okay, I just wanted to, we can make an adjustment once
Yes.
that, so who would look into that once we
will.
take it?
I will, along with HR and Teresa will look into that.
Also, this budget, does it include the pay that our bus drivers receive? Because I know we sometimes run short on bus drivers also, and we're going to be needing quite a few more as we increase transportation?
I believe all of our hourly staff were evaluated in the salary review. Is that correct, Deborah? Yeah, so bus drivers are included in the salary structures that we're addressing with this proposed plan.
The tax revenues that you have estimated, the little over $390 million, would you say this is a conservative estimate? I mean, could we possibly take in more than that, and would that help us with these other needs?
Very much so. It's conservative. The percentage increase that I used in developing the budgeted revenue was a 7% increase in our property values. The amount that we received on April 30th from Harris County Appraisal District, of course, it depends on at what point in time do you compare those to determine what the percentage increase is. But when I take the estimated values that Harris County Appraisal District provided us at the end of April and compare that with our certified values at the end of that we based our tax rate on this past year, that is a 12.1% increase. And so using a 7% increase on our values to develop the budget is I think is a very conservative approach.
All right, thank you.
By the way, the tax revenues do contemplate, as you will hopefully take action on later tonight, is the continuation of the 20% optional homestead exemption and all of the other homestead exemptions. And so this tax revenue does include those exemptions.
Ms. Hartley?
Thank you. I was just thinking about, I'm thrilled that we can offer our staff, our teachers, everybody, a raise. And I was thinking about when you were talking about the compressions of the assistant principals and different people on campus. And so I'm very happy that we had that discussion tonight. I do think that a lot of times those people end up working more hours sometimes. So your rate of pay per hour ends up being less. I see that as a first-time adjunct professor at Lone Star. Mm-hmm. I spend way more hours getting lesson ready than maybe I will in a year or two or three. But I think as a mom, I've seen how there used to be more paras, and these two teachers would share a para. Now it might be 4 or 5 sharing a para, and the paras are more is expected of them as well, I think, as administration. It's great to see a 1.6 line item, but we keep growing. We have more students. We have more teachers. I just think we need to be very aware of how low do we need that number to be to really truly support all the people that we support in this district. So I just wanted to highlight that, and I know we're always going to have a low number, but I want to make sure as a group that we're taking care of all of our staff and our administrators and everybody.
Well, the reason, and that's a great point, and that's something that we discuss quite a bit in our deliberations on the budget. We want to make sure that we're providing the services on the campus that we can and providing the people to be able to do that. The reason why our administrative cost ratio is low is because the amount of money that we put into our classroom is high compared with the low amount of money that we spend on general administration.
Exactly. But at some point, I guess I'm thinking everybody's had more work put on them, whether it's a teacher, a para, or whatever. And I just, want to be cognizant of that, and I wanted to highlight it. So.
Any additional questions from Bob?
I'm sorry, just a quick one I forgot a while ago. Stuart, just to kind of clarify something, because it's another one of those little rumors I heard out there, and that was people were seeing our police force issuing tickets to people, and the comment I got was, you're bound to be building your coffers there with all that money that you're getting from issuing the tickets. And I just thought it might be nice if you clarify where that money actually goes.
I think that's a Deborah Stewart question, but I don't believe that we keep any of the money that are paid on fines because of tickets. Is that
That's correct, Stuart. Those monies are to the county.
Any additional questions? Stuart, great job by you and your team. I know y'all spent a lot of time putting this together. Did you want to give them kudos on who helped with your...
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Never mind.
Oh, yes, I do. Of course, I want to recognize Karen Smith. She's over there advancing my slides, but Karen, I'll tell you what, she is the one that does all of this work. I sit up here and I make the presentation, but all of the heavy lifting is done by Karen and her staff, and you know, we just couldn't do it without her. So I just really want to say I appreciate the hard work that she puts into this, as well as all of the other things that she does and has on her plate.
Great job. Agenda item 3A, any board member may make a comment during this portion of the agenda without prior posting being required. Comment items may not pertain to the character of any student, staff, or board member and may not be discussed or deliberated upon at this time. Any comments from board members? Bob?
Now, I just wanted to make this statement and thank the board, because this is the third year that we have taken on the project of visiting every facility within our district. And I think that is just an amazing project for us to take on. And I know the first year we just were able to work in the spring semester and we covered all the facilities, and then last year we divided it out over the year, and this year over the year. And I think we're pretty close, if we are not totaled out, at 100% of seeing all the facilities. And I've just got to say to everybody out there that have welcomed us into their facilities that it's been a joy to come by and visit with you, and it's been enlightening, especially for us as a board, to come back here and make decisions when we've got some actual knowledge of what's going on in the district. So I commend the board for what you're doing, and I certainly thank all the facilities for helping us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. And Dr. Henry just reminded me the hearing is now closed. Sorry.
Do I start over?
Yes.
Okay.
No, well said. Mr. Jackson.
You know, I have to warn my colleagues up here. In the month of May, I tend to be more loquacious than I normally am. So now's a good time. If y'all need to take a break, I would suggest you do so. And for those of you at home, go ahead and put your feet up. I made numerous stops on behalf of the district, including 4 with the Chamber of Commerce, and met and, of course, asked my typical questions of the 2 Republican candidates looking to replace our good friend, Bill Caligari. Both of these individuals are talented, well-qualified, but I would suspect, based upon their answers, that they might need to receive information from our district on the opportunities of our district and our funding level compared to other districts in close proximity. I missed the choir festival that my youngest said was a must attend, since the last time I went to it is when she was in 5th grade. And instead I went to church to hear Pastor Henry talk, but also concerns of our special needs population. Their concerns are very heartfelt. I spent a full day in my Blue Continentals and started with the VIPS luncheon and work sessions. The good news is that the team building session this year, I was not asked to lay on the floor and make certain that my teammates did not step on me. I appreciate that. A trademark of a superior enterprise is one that constantly invests in its personnel, and volunteers are no different. I am proud, as my colleagues are, to be permitted to wear your pin. A stop at Read 180 is always worthwhile to hear the update on the software. And then I went over to meet our lunch angel and hear the launch of a new collaborative program to address the needs of our neediest in our district. With my colleagues, I attended the training session at the Gulf Coast Association, learned more about Section 46 of House Bill 5, compare notes with other district representatives, and started to crack the case. Again this year, I surfed the digital wave that some people may call the Technology Festival. Each school had a fine display of student knowledge and technological application, but more importantly, you saw creativity bloom with the assistance of technology learned. The wow factor, of course, was everywhere, and at the top of my list is always the NASA Hunch program, this time with a wait table and sleeping quarters. Lowry third graders amazed me with their embedded music and their presentation, but just across the way were the G&T students in first grade of Feast doing much the same. I have yet to understand how to unlock Prezi to get that to work. Continuing on, I was amazed to see TIE fighters created using 3D printers, and I was able to visit with the top point student in the state of Texas, first name Allie, as she reviewed her Revit's program with me. 5 years ago, Revit's was not being taught at the college level, and here in Cy-Fair, we are teaching the software. And then, of course, probably at the top of the list was visiting with automotive students, but also the instructors, and learning about the national industry certifications, which are being earned by our students, enabling them to be placed at car dealerships immediately upon graduation. I asked one of my standard and trademark pointed questions of automotive technology instructor Walker. And here's the question: why was it important that our students learn using technology that approaches or constitute industry standards? And as always, it's not really the question that's important, but the answer is. His answer was remarkably clear. If we do not teach our students using industry standard technology, we are preparing them for a job that no longer exists. That really sums it up. And so a tip of the wizard's hat to Frankie, Becky Cook and her team, Mark Williams with his career and technical staff, principal, staff, and students. As a board member, I support the Cy-Fair philosophy to constantly approach the industry standard to help make our students career and college ready. For the past 9 years, I've been privileged to be a national presenter at JROTC events in our county and have witnessed the growth of this value-added program in the Cy-Fair district to approximately 900 cadets. You see them on parade at the Pass and Review, and I was pleased to be joined by my colleague at the Pass and Review event. My schedule this year included 8 stops in 3 different districts, and my favorite is always right here at home. Our cadets somehow stand a little straighter, and perhaps their shoes have a little brighter shine. This program seeks to develop citizens of character dedicated to serving their nation and community. However, one of the sassies reminded me that academics remain priority number 1. I should point out that many of the students in this program did not have an affiliation with other student organizations, and a need was addressed. And so I tip my tricorn to the colonels, majors, captain, the chief, and sergeants for leading this program to national prominence and guiding our students on the path of leadership. The tricorn is also tipped to Miss Spillane, Miss Reddy, and the various veteran groups and patriotic organizations that help support this program. Special note is made of the American Legion, who sponsored 17 Cy-Fair students to Boys or Girls State. And finally, I would like to thank each of the 13,000 plus individuals who chose to vote in the Cy-Fair ISD bond election. For those of you who voted in favor, I applaud you. For those of you who engaged in a factual-based debate of different philosophical approaches to the bond question, I salute you. An honest, fact-based debate of different opinions is good for all, irrespective of the final outcome. Thank you.
Any additional comments from board members? Okay, agenda item 4A. Patrons who have duly registered per policy BED local may address the board regarding matters of concern or interest to the district other than the character of any student, staff, or board member. I would like to remind the audience and the viewers that the comments of the speakers reflect their own positions or opinions. The board may not discuss or act upon any matter that is not listed under the action item portion of the agenda. Therefore, board members may not discuss the comments of speakers. Please understand that a lack of a response from board members does not indicate agreement or approval of the comments. Each speaker will be given 3 minutes to address the board. Ms. Christine Hartley, Secretary of the Board, will be our designated timekeeper. We've had 2 people sign up to speak tonight, and our first speaker is Mary Stoner. Ms. Stoner.
Good evening, President Ryan, Board of Trustees, Dr. Henry, and viewing audience. My name is Mary Stoner, and I'm president of Cyfair TSTA NEA, and tonight we are full of thanks. First, Cyfair TSTA would like to thank the Cypress community for backing the bond and for your continued support of our students and our excellent public school system. Next, I'd like to personally thank Mrs. Hull for tonight's tip, allowing me the opportunity to rewrite our prepared speech in 5 minutes' time. Thanks. Finally, Cyfair TSTA thanks the Cyfair administration for withdrawing our district schools from piloting the new TEA teacher evaluation project. As you know from the letter we sent, Cyfair TSTA had concerns about teachers being evaluated on standardized test scores and the absolute lack of direction that came from TEA. Cyfair TSTA thanks you for considering our concerns and for withdrawing us from the TEA pilot program. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Stoner. Our next speaker will be Fred Benson.
President Ryan, Dr. Henry, members of the board, and members of the community. My name is Fred Benson. I'm the father of 2 very awesome girls. And I am a member, or am a member of the Long Range Planning Committee that brought the recent school bond proposal to you. I'd like to say thank you to you as leaders for submitting this bond proposal to our community, and I'd like to say thank you to the community for overwhelmingly approving it Saturday. There have been, prior to Saturday, 5 times in the last 20 years that our community has willfully approved a school bond for this school district, where we have willfully chosen to all take on the responsibility for the infrastructure for this very fine district. And on Saturday, we made it a 6th time that we've made that decision. And the result, in my personal opinion, is one of the best academic and financially most efficient school systems, not just in the state of Texas, but in the United States of America. My wife Shani and I moved here for the schools in 1998. We will remain here for the schools, and I think I speak for probably tens of thousands of people in the community. Thank you for what you did. Thanks.
Thank you, Fred. The board will hear the following report, Agenda Item 5A. The administration will provide a report on the Cypress-Fairbanks ISD demographic update completed by population and survey analyst. Presenter will be Teresa Hull. Ms. Hull.
Well, actually, we have representatives from PASA that are here with us this evening that will be providing you with the report. Just a little bit of background on PASA. As you know, last year was the first year that PASA provided us with a very comprehensive, in-depth demographic study, and so they completed an updated report, which each of you received this evening in the binders. Just a little bit of background. PASA opened in 1980 and is one of the largest demographic firms in the state of Texas. They're actually located in College Station, and their primary client base does include school districts. They have worked with many local school districts such as Katy, Klein, Humble, Conroe, Lamar, Goose Creek, and I believe Fort Bend most recently, as well as many other school districts across the state. They've worked with Frisco, Lake Travis, Highland Park, Duncanville, Leander, and Waco. So you can see from the list of school districts that they definitely have a strong presence across the state. As I mentioned to you earlier, they did do a comprehensive report, so this is just an update from last year that was actually used as part of the bond study process, and so this is providing you with more current data and takes us out an additional year. So now I believe we will go out to the year 2023 with the information and data that they are providing. Our presenters tonight are Dr. Pat Gussman and Dr. Stacy Tapera. And is Stacy going first, or Pat, you're going first?
Thank you for that introduction. We do appreciate being here tonight and hope that this brief summary will be useful as you move forward post a successful bond election and think in terms of the next 5 and 10 years and, again, high student growth. The most important slide, and perhaps hopefully the only one that's not data-driven, is this first slide. We wanted to reiterate the fact that the approach that is used for the projections is based on looking at every subdivision and apartment, as well as for undeveloped parcels of 5 acres or more in the district. So we're always, instead of using past rates of change to look toward the future, we are looking at these subdivisions as they build out. And of course, some of them build out in 2 years' time. And so to use past rates of growth for an individual subdivision would not be effective. And I wanted to mention that because it's a bit of a contrarian approach in that most demographers do use extrapolation techniques, but for these small geographic areas where we need high reliability, we have to try a different strategy. And I had wanted to emphasize that because we've seen some ups and downs in several subdivisions and master plan communities over the past year, and we'll continue to see that in the near future. Some have construction delays and big challenges, and others are masterfully moving ahead. Now, the red is to be evaluated, keeping in mind that this district, of course, had the largest growth, 5,000 and 6,000 students a year added for 3 years. This past year, due to the mortgage challenges for younger families, there was a lower added kindergarten enrollment. At the same time, some of the older subdivisions that have been built out for 30 plus years showed a slight decline in enrollment. So keep in mind as we are looking at this data that this year there were 1,400 added students, and that would be reflective of the 2,000 added the year previously. Again, for the 10-year period, almost 11,000 added to the district, and the reason for the need for a bond election and planning for future school construction. Now, keep in mind that in the boom era, 2001 through 2007, the critical indicators were high immigration into the urban core, propelling residents to suburban locations like Cyfair, and also these uber readily available mortgage instruments. Those don't exist in either case. So what does this district offer currently? It has very critical upper socioeconomic characteristics, higher than average test scores, certainly for large districts in particular, and at the same time, still the ready availability of parcels that can be developed just beyond the last wave of residential build-out. Now you can see how the growth trends have changed as the district is becoming more built out, with only parcels left in the west and a few infill parcels elsewhere. Personally, my 2 favorite pages in this very heavy report are pages 66 and 67 that show, you can see what parcels have sold of 5+ acres in the last 2 years, and most importantly, what's for sale today based on 3 commercial vendors' databases. Now, in showing this unique set of socioeconomic characteristics, it's particularly important to keep in mind that among the large districts, the fairly low percent of economically disadvantaged, because keep in mind that a large district by definition is typically very diverse. And then secondly, in looking at the star passage rate for grades 3 through 8, this is last year's data. Again, it's very remarkable to see this ranking as second, very remarkable relative to the demographic characteristics of the district. It really says a lot about the experience and expertise of staffs at each school. Now, we do contact every private school, and we'll go through several slides that show these, but in particular, the schools that have the most students currently are Cypress Christian, Epiphany, Harmony, Houston Christian High School, and St. Elizabeth Ann Seton School. They're all typically in the east and south central portions of the district. And yet, if we, and this is hopefully easy to see, the 2.2% points to currently the number of students in that listing of schools that are attending private and charter schools but reside in Cy-Fair ISD. And you can see what a small proportion it is relative to many districts that we work with that have 19, 17, 16, 14%. So you can see for 5 years in the future as well, even though these schools in several cases are planning expansions, still there will be under 3% estimated to be attending these schools. Now, employment trends, I think we should not concentrate on too much tonight, but please know that we are always working to understand leading indicators of employment that attract employees to this district, and we do know that like attracts like in terms of future employees moving in, and of course the educational and medical fields continue to remain the heaviest proportion of those employed among all economic sectors. The district itself, in terms of where employees live, has likely added about 5% new employees in the last 2 years, which is interesting because it's ahead of the student growth rate. And for a district that's maturing, that's interesting because it means you're adding a huge number of employees in manufacturing, retail, and other sectors. It's a good positive characteristic. Housing projections, very dependent on transportation. We have to be grateful for our county commissioners, TxDOT, and all others providing funding, including the 3 entities. Not all 3 of the funds are shown for 290, but to be completed in 2017 with a broad-based set of funds. And then the Grand Parkway, very fascinating indeed, because that one segment that is in this district has had such a massive impact. It's very historic throughout the Houston region. And even though we hear a lot about other locations such as ExxonMobil attracting a large number of new residents within a maybe 100 square mile radius, then we see this area is tied in that regard, in regard to added population and added students in particular. So here we're looking, if you can see that green line that's vertical, the Grand Parkway, part of Katy is shown, part of Waller, and then predominantly this district on the east. And this area represents approximately 20,000 added residents in what is about a 9.5-year period, a huge number added for any one fairly small location. And this is not the length of that segment, but the area most affecting this district. And that about is virtually tied with the ExxonMobil development in Spring that's also affecting the Woodlands and Klein. Now, we don't need to talk about the floodplain seriously in this district because many developers are able to develop without those constraints, and yet if we look at the development to date for this district, you see the 70% built out characteristic, and yet knowing that the active subdivisions in the deep purple and the yet undeveloped but planned portions of the district in the west, as well as the 17% that have no development plans, represent the last stages of development in this district. Now, if we look at what we can expect in terms of the rapidity of build-out, the Bridgeland sections will be virtually completed by the end of this 10-year projection period. Town Lake will be complete before that period is even nearing to be up. And then Cypress Creek Lakes and Canyon Lakes West, which now includes Mirabella, are also going to have an important role. And then a future portion of Westfield that has yet to be named but may be Settlers Village on the new Grand Parkway, very critical, and other developments. So multifamily is also playing a role. There are 49 developments in the district for which we have enough confidence and data to be able to project the number of units that would be expected. 49 is a huge, huge number. And of those, the Bridgeland multifamily, which includes some mid-rise and high-rise, potentially 7 multifamily parcels, 5 certain, 2 probable near Fairfield, Town Lake multifamily, and in the Newland development, that's the ARO Betts Freeman parcels, the Newland communities that will be equivalent to Cinco Ranch, then also multifamily in those particular subdivisions of Newland. And keep in mind, again, that 92% of all of the added students were in actively building out subdivisions. So that is playing a strong, strong role in this district. In some districts, for example, in Humble, 30% of the students are in regenerating subdivisions that have moved in this year alone. So this district is definitely different right now. That process is not happening in a big way yet in this district. The built-out subdivisions that did increase were, at least in terms of the largest increases, did not add a single new home. Cypress Cove, Plantation Lakes North, Westgate, and Brentwood Trails. And those that had the greatest losses, these are built-out subdivisions. Some parts are parts of master plan communities, were Coles Crossing, North Glen North, and Tallowood North. Now, what we do expect, I'm sorry, you can see this Aggie approach here to moving slides forward. The most important aspect of this slide is to know that between 2010 and 2013, Bridgeland gained over 800 students, but at the same time, Copperfield lost about almost 360 students, 355 students. And I think that's important to consider because that's the type of bifurcation or split in growth patterns that we're seeing. Projected new housing again on the west, and what you see north of 290, the red area represents apartments, 2 of which are going to be for seniors, that won't be for general population. And then this looks at the last 5 years of the 10-year projection period. And again, the development is extremely oriented to the west, but other parcels opening up. West Green, Richfield. Those are the last two big parcels north of 290 that just virtually are touching. In fact, they are adjacent to the Grand Parkway. And the overall projections then are about 14,000 multifamily units conservatively in the next 10 years, and just under 29,000 single-family homes. This is a huge set of numbers and difficult to grasp in terms of the impact on student population. And yet, if we look at the ratios of students per house right now, we have 0.65. It's just a tiny bit lower than last year, and I think that has to do with the economic recovery. So a 0.65 child for every home in the district, and 0.34 students for every apartment that's in the district, every occupied apartment. Now, projected student enrollment for 2018, roughly 120,000. That's a tad lower than we projected last year, but a huge factor is the percent of kindergarten that are a proportion of the overall enrollment, and that total number of kindergartners that showed up this year. Actually, again, it has to do with mortgages that are not available for young families, and that was one of three big factors. Now 130,800 is projected for 2023 in 9 years and 5 or 6 months. So the high growth projection series would suggest around 138,600, and that could easily occur. And the low growth scenario is a lot less probable, but depends on those older built-out subdivisions and what ultimately evolves, how rapidly they regenerate with younger heads of households moving in. And here, this map shows you the resident students, those that are geocoded in the district, and then the projected number of the growth in that student population over the next 9+ years. And now Dr. Tapera is going to briefly show you where optimally each new school will be located.
Thank you. So yes, new students are always exciting, and enrollment growth is exciting, but what really matters to the board and to the district is how does that relate to the existing schools, the capacities, and how many students can be accommodated in those schools. I show you this map here. These are the current the elementary attendance zones as of next August. These include the zoning changes that were approved a few months ago, and we will be focusing in on sections of these areas as we talk about the progression of the growth through the next 10 years. First, I'd like you to take a look at this map that is a little bit similar to the one you saw just a minute ago with the areas of red, but these are attendance zones. The red attendance zones are schools that if nothing happens after tonight, if no new schools are built after this year, then Rennell is projected to have 2 students for every desk. That's 200% of capacity, and Pope 3.5 students sitting in every chair. So that's the equivalent of up to 3.5 schools in the current Pope attendance zone in the next. That's a graphic sight for you, isn't it? A mental image. But it's also important to look at the other areas that are not red, that are orange and yellow, and particularly clusters of those. So of course, the west side of the district is largely the site of the biggest growth in the district, and therefore the need for the new schools. But I also draw your attention to the east side, Hancock, at 158% of capacity by the end of this projection period. Now, that is not because of extensively high growth, but simply consistent slow growth in an otherwise already crowded area. Now, I also need to clarify that these numbers represent, and all the numbers that I'm talking about tonight represent resident students. This is where the students live. This district has a lot of transferring around between campuses for programmatic reasons and voluntary and other reasons. But for example, bilingual and pre-K programs are often moved to other campuses for a variety of reasons, and that is not taken into account because we're demographers. We project where students are going to live. So some of these are not as big of crises as they may seem because students are transferring out to other campuses. I'd first like to focus you on the western portion of the district. The yellow area that you see here is an area that currently attends, part of it attends Rennell and part of it attends Postma. If the district continues with its plan to open Woodard Elementary in the fall of 2015, then the area shown here in yellow is projected to have enough students to successfully fill a school and be well utilized, as well as to provide relief for Rennell and Postma. I'd like to really emphasize that these are not attendance zones. No decisions have been made regarding attendance zones. The school isn't built yet, and certainly the attendance zones have not been decided. However, we need to be able to illustrate to you where the population is projected to live and how that geographically relates to the locations of the schools and which schools could be relieved by the opening of the next new school. So a moment ago, I drew your attention over to the east side of the campus with some overcrowding over there, and so now I'm going to jump over there. There has been some discussion about rebuilding the Matsky campus on a site that the district owns adjacent to the high school, and that site is shown here in gray. This is an example of how that site, which is actually currently in the Hancock attendance zone, could be built and then pull some students from Hancock to take care of some of that overcrowding that I showed you on the first slide when you saw bright orange over on the east side. The timing of this school is not demographically driven because there is not high growth over there. It's not like Bridgeland that's building a lot of houses and adding a lot of students. The timing is more related to other financial issues within the district. So for that reason, we have said any time that you can get it built, it can be used in 2016 or later. So now we jump back to the west side of the district. In 2017, 2 additional new schools can be utilized. The first one I'll talk about is over on the east side of this map. This is south of 529. Last year when we were here presenting to you, we talked about the possibility of finding a site south of 529. And we've had discussions with the administration, and everyone understands how dense and populated that area is, and there are not many opportunities for school sites down there. And so the administration has been working to identify some sites south of 529. None have been purchased, but some possibilities have been identified. And this catchment area shown in yellow represents how possibly, if a site could be obtained within that area, it could provide some overcrowding relief, a small amount of relief for several different campuses in the area. Tips and Leader and Horn and Metcalf and Helmsley and Lowry and Owens all have just a tiny bit of overcrowding, but put together they can all support a school. And likewise in 2017 over on the far west, this is when last year we suggested that the second Bridgeland site could be used in 2017 to relieve overcrowding at Pope, and that schedule still remains this year. Pope is projected to have in 2016 about almost 1,400 students, which is certainly overcrowded. But if you were to open that new school in Bridgeland in 2016 to avoid that 1,400 students in Pope, there are only 350 students projected to live in that yellow area at the time. So it's our recommendation at this time, assuming these projections hold, which they won't, they will change next year and the next year and the next year. But at this point, we're recommending that that Bridgeland site be opened in 2017 in order to relieve Pope and to be able to adequately utilize that campus in its first year. And up until this point, nothing has really changed in our recommendation since last year. Despite fluctuations within the projections that happen from year to year, the schedule that I have just presented is all familiar and similar to what we presented last year. And now we jump across kind of a threshold that we use within our company. The last 5 years of our projection period we call benchmark data. It's certainly less consistent and reliable than the first 5 years because plans change. But we use it as benchmark data so that the district can begin thinking and planning ahead long term. So in 2019, the overcrowding is projected to be the most intense at Rennell and Postma by 2019, and this yellow catchment area represents an area surrounding the site that the district owns in Mirabella, which is Canyon Lakes West future sections. Now, this is moved up by a year compared to our presentation last year. And it can easily be moved back in the next few years. And likewise, the next step in 2020, both of these schools have fluctuated by 1 year compared to our recommendations last year. So it's very possible that the Hagar site shown in the south there, that is in this case needing to relieve overcrowding at Walker and Hemingway, it's very possible that that may need to be, the timing is fluid and it may need to be changed and switched with the Canyon Lakes West site. But again, in each year as we do these updates, we will give you the latest in the plans for the construction schedules of those areas. And then likewise, the third Bridgeland Elementary in 2020 as well. Finally, at the very far end of our projection period, we suggested last year and maintained this year that the district might take a wait-and-see approach to a possible new school in the far south at the very end of this projection period. This would be in an effort to relieve Wilson, Sheraton, and Robinson. But the necessity of this school is dependent on the future growth of Grand Oaks, future sections of Grand Oaks and other areas in the far south that are not necessarily guaranteed at this point. So this is a summary of what I showed you at the very beginning, just the west side, where we talked about 3.5 students sitting in every desk at Pope, if nothing changed. After this long-range plan, if all of these new schools can be opened in the next 10 years, this is what that utilization map would look like. And so it's important to note that that 174%, that orange area that you see in Bridgeland, is adjacent to a 76% utilization school in Bridgeland. And that's simply because right now it's just a big field. And when the timing and the infrastructure and the roads become more solidified, then we'll be able to draw a better balanced catchment area. But overall, this long-range plan will sufficiently accommodate this projected student period in this high-growth area of the district over the next 10 years. This is a summary of what I've just told you and how it compares to last year. As I mentioned, the first several schools are right on schedule compared to last year. And again, in the latter 5 years of our projection period, the timing becomes more fluid. At the middle school level, the opening of Anthony Middle School is providing very needed relief for Smith Middle School. But the next area of interest, of course, is going to be the Hagar site, or middle school number 19 on the Hagar site, still projected to be needed in 2019. And that's followed by the Bridgeland site that the district has, middle school number 6, followed in 2021. Again, this compares to last year with very little change in the timing in our recommendations. And finally, at the high school level, the short-term overcrowding need, again, these are resident students. They don't include all of the transfers that happen between schools. Cypress Lakes is the greatest in need with about 3,700 students, resident students this fall, and Cy Falls at almost 3,700 students. So the high school number 11 on the Hagar site will be able to relieve overcrowding at Cy Springs and Cy Lake and other high schools in the far south area, and followed by high school number 12 in Bridgeland to relieve Cy Ranch. And again, this schedule follows very closely what we recommended last year, so no big surprises here. So at this point, we are happy to take any questions from the board.
Any questions from board members? Thank you all for this report. It's very enlightening and somewhat disturbing to see what lies ahead for us. Teresa, you have anything that you want to add? Great, thank you very much. Agenda item 6A, the board will consider awarding bids and contracts and or authorizing purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item. I believe that's our consent agenda. Do any board members have questions on our consent agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the board award bids and contracts and or authorize purchase orders as recommended in the posted agenda item.
I have a motion from Mr. Hoffman. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Hartley. Again, any questions? All those in favor, please signify. There is, do I need to?
Don, I did have a question.
What?
I'm sorry, I did have a question.
Okay, let me ask Donna this one question on, what? What did they say? Okay. Hey, is the question over our report we just got, Bob?
I'm sorry?
Is the question over the report we just got or something on the agenda?
On the agenda.
Oh, okay. Okay, go ahead, Bob. I'm sorry.
No, the portable classroom building construction, that's part of this, right? And I was just curious as to, in looking at that, noticed that there are no restrooms for high school portables. Yeah, why do we do that?
That's been the typical standard that we've done, Mr. Covey, and where we've done major renovations at a high school campus. When we did Jersey Village and Cypress Creek, we actually added some portable buildings that just nothing but contained restrooms. But at this point in time, because of limitations that we may have in some locations in terms of getting utilities to some of those portables, we feel that the elementary school kids are more apt to have the students and have restrooms for those buildings, so it's close proximity instead of them walking a larger distance as we would at a high school or middle school campus.
Okay, I'm just curious why. Thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Tom?
With the building, we're approving a contract for the new elementary school, and it's a little premature at this point, but with all of the political rhetoric about expanding the K and the pre-K programs, right now our programs are half days, meaning we need half the classroom space. But if we ever go to full day, all of a sudden we're going to need a lot more classroom space, and that's going to be everywhere. And then secondly, something you see when you go to these national seminars is the the thought, and I haven't seen any research on it, that as demographics change, we may need to allow more square footage and perhaps different construction, say at the elementary level, to address the needs of the changing demographics. There's no way that the new school plan can bring any of that into account, but do you envision for the new schools going out in the future that that's something that you'll be visiting with the architects about?
Actually, we currently build into our current prototype designs flexible spaces, learning spaces. And by doing what we've been doing since Rennell Elementary School, by implementing that flex space, it does give the campuses some opportunities that hopefully we can use that space as it's originally intended and designed to be a breakout space for teachers to work with students to do project-based learning and some other activities. However, if the need should arise and we have to go to pre-K or it's mandated, we have the ability of using those spaces into full-blown classrooms. And we design them that way so that we can easily convert them to a standalone classroom by themselves. And then, of course, the other option is we can certainly use portable buildings like we've done at some campuses. And when we design a brand new campus, we design exactly where those portables should go, and we include the infrastructure in the site package as part of the construction of that project, so it'll help us facilitate installing those portable buildings at a later date.
Any additional questions from board members? We have, I believe, a motion from Mr. Covey, a second from Ms. Hartley. All those in favor, please signify. Mr. Hoffman. Sorry, bud. All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous. That will take us to back to item 7A. The board will consider approving a resolution to continue the residence homestead exemptions for individuals residing in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District for tax year 2014. May I have a motion?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve a resolution to continue the same residence homestead exemptions for individuals residing in the Cypress-Fairbanks Independent School District for tax year 2014 that were in effect in 2013.
I have a motion from Mr. Covey, a second from Ms. Mingoya. Any questions from board members? All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous. Probably should make sure that's pointed out to everyone so tomorrow we don't have to hear that we're taking away your optional homestead exemption. That's what we just voted on for those of you that don't seem to get it from time to time. Agenda item 7I, the board will consider approving the superintendent's recommendation to give notice to Ferdinand Mark that it is proposed that his employment with the district under a probationary contract be discharged. It is further recommended that the president of the board notify the teacher of the proposed action to discharge his employment pursuant 21.103 of the Texas Education Code. May I have a motion, please? Anybody?
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Trustees give notice to Ferdinand Mark that it is proposed that his employment with the district under the probationary contract be discharged.
I have a motion from Mr. Covey. Second from Mr. Hoffman. Any questions from board members? All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous. And I think I skipped, thank you, Donna, 7C. Oh, just slight overlook there, Stuart. The board will consider the adoption of the 2014-2015 budget. May I have a motion?
I move that the board adopt the 2014-2015 budget as presented by the administration.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Jackson. Second, Ms. Hartley. Any questions from board members? All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous, and that will take us to 7J. The board will consider the proposed action to declare a surplus approximately 7 acres of land as part of the maintenance center tract located on Winford Road near the Perry Road intersection. May I have a motion at this time? It's late. Man, you guys are killing me.
Okay, I move the board approve a proposed action to declare surplus approximately 7 acres of land as part of the maintenance center tract located on Winford Road near the Perry Road intersection.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Hoffman. Second, Mr. Covey. Any questions from board members? All those in favor, please signify. It's unanimous. We will now go on to the superintendent's briefing portion of the agenda. Dr. Henry will make comments and provide information of interest. Dr. Henry?
And Mr. Ryan, I just wanted to confirm on our consent agenda that it was for all of the items on the consent agenda.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Ready for me?
Yeah.
Okay, very quickly. In 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which that date falls is Police Week, May 12th through the 16th. The Cy-Fair Educational Foundation will hold the 26th Annual B.F. Adam Golf Classic on May 15th at Black Horse Golf Club. Proceeds from the event help provide scholarships for Cy-Fair students. District facilities will be closed on Monday, May 26th, in observance of Memorial Day holiday as we pause to remember those who have given their lives for our freedom. A district-wide career fair hosted by the Human Resources Department will be held Thursday, May 29th at the Berry Center. Prospective teachers and employees are encouraged to attend. More information is available on the district website. The last day of classes for the 2013-14 academic year is Thursday, June 5th. Friday, June 6th is a professional day for district employees. I certainly wish all of our students and teachers a great summer. All CFISD graduation ceremonies will be held at the Berry Center June 4th through June 7th. We are proud of our more than 7,200 graduating seniors and certainly wish them the best as they pursue their college and career aspirations. The schedule for this year's graduation ceremonies, as well as parking information, can be accessed on the district webpage at www.cfisd.net. Graduations will be broadcast live on Channel 16. CFISD recently partnered with Feed the Future Forward, founded by Kenny Thompson, Cy Hope, and the Cy-Fair School Food Service Association to unveil the CFISD Lunch Superhero Account. Donated funds will provide for students who have exceeded their lunch account. CFISD was the first district to create its own Lunch Superhero Account. The first secondary summer school session for original credit will be June 16th through July 10th, and the second session will run July 14th through August 6th. High school locations are Cypress Creek and Cypress Falls. Middle school locations are Goodson and Truett. Information on elementary general and special education, bilingual and ESL makeup credit, summer camps, and other summer programs can be accessed on the website through the calendar or the curriculum and instruction tab under departments. Summer school graduation is scheduled for August 6th at 7 p.m. at the Berry Center. From June 9th to August 1st, all district facilities and campuses will be closed on Fridays. Employees will work 10-hour days Monday through Thursday. Closing the buildings will accomplish a cost savings and allow for a 3-day weekend over a period of 8 weeks. I believe this allows us to maximize productivity while giving the staff some flexibility during the summer. On Monday, May 5th at 7 p.m., the district recognized our Spotlight teachers, one selected from each campus during the 2013-14 school year. This special called board meeting took place at the Berry Center. Also during the Spotlight recognition, the paraprofessional and ancillary Spotlight employee winners were recognized for their contributions to the district. This event was taped and can be viewed on our website. Recently, the inaugural Cy-Fair Middle School Book Festival was held at the Berry Center with over 870 in attendance. Several well-known authors were present and shared their passion for reading and writing with students. The theme, Reading Forward, Giving Back, was promoted by the CFISD librarians throughout the school year through books written by the visiting authors and through a charity drive which raised over $1,600 for Cy-Hope. Thank you, Mr. President.
We don't have a closed session tonight, so that will conclude our meeting, but I do want to thank the Berry Center staff for getting all this set up tonight, because I know it was a huge undertaking, but it made the night extremely special for our students and their parents. So a big thank you to the Berry Center staff and to our students who remain in the cameras tonight. Thank you, guys. Everyone have a great evening, and we will see you in our next meeting. We're adjourned.